Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy Sunday. Today's live stream is going to be pretty short and sweet. Looks like we had some technical difficulties on the previous one, but no worries. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen and we can get this one going. So here we go. We did just previously talk about PANW, which is Palo Alto. So someone asked me, is this a stock that I would consider buying the dip on? And very, very quickly, again, I do respect that it was previously a bullish stock. It recently pulled on back. It is beginning to show signs of a support, which I think is a great reason on why to watch something. But as of right now, we're not actually seeing signs of proper confirmation or indicating signs of reversal. So because of that, I would simply say, as of right now, this would be more of a watch than an actually buy. I would hate to be someone that buys here right around 285 to 300, and then all it does for the next few weeks is consolidate, right? That's wasted time spending with an open position when all we can really do is set proper alerts and then wait for an actual breakout to see if it's actually beginning to show signs of progress of higher highs and higher lows. The other stock that someone asked me to break down is AMD, and rightfully so. AMD, just like many other stocks, again, have recently pulled on back. AMD coming off of a great rally from higher highs and higher lows, asking the question, right? Looking at this moving average on the 4-hour time frame, we recently pulled on back. Does AMD have the potential for it to find its support here, break back above the moving average and the EMA, and run back up to previous highs? So looking at that, it offers about a 20% return. I can see definitely why you're paying attention to it, but as of right now, we are not even above the EMA line, so I see there to be no reason on why to even prepare to buy, right? Obviously, you want to create a plan of action if this is something that you actually want to take advantage of. But as of right now, just as much as it could go up, it could definitely go down. So just make sure that you're aware of that. I would set my alert both for the break above that EMA line, but also set your alert for the break below previous lows. If this thing begins to indicate signs of, more selling pressure, then it's had an amazing start to 2024. We can't be surprised that, okay, we expected to go up to 210, but what about it selling back off down to $100 per share? We have to always make sure that we don't just take the upside potential into consideration, but also that downside risk. So is Ricky right-handed? I am right-handed, and unfortunately, the hand that I had that was injured during that accident was my right hand. So everything is that I'm doing, it's a little bit slower, but I'm doing it with my left hand. But just wanted to make sure that I went live for you guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Again, if you want me to break down your stock, just share it in the live chat. I'm going to be breaking these down very, very quickly. So would love to give you my 2 cents on whatever stock it is that you see value in for this upcoming week. JBL. So JBL on the 4-hour time frame. Yep. Reported earnings, pulled on back, became oversold. Recovery potential. I definitely see why you're paying attention to it. Right off the bat, I could see the candles have a little bit lower trading volume. That within itself would just be a reason on why I personally would not trade it. Not because you shouldn't, but anytime that something trades this low, it can be easily manipulated. And anytime that something like that happens, just as much as it could potentially shoot up, it could also just drop right back down. And due to that, again, I don't want to have that type of exposure to that kind of risk. So looking at current price points, if it does recover to previous highs, 16% ROI, which again, I definitely see why it is that you're paying attention to it. If I were you, again, just like the last times, it sells off, it consolidates, and then breaks above EMA and actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend before it peaks and then sells off. Anything like this that's this volatile, you have to be someone that's really good at managing risk and someone that's really good at taking profits at any indication of a resistance. Again, just something to take into consideration. So what actually cut you? So, well, again, it's not confirmed because I don't necessarily remember exactly what cut me, but when it came down to my accident, the car accident that I was involved in, I was honking and braking as I was coming up to the intersection, and unfortunately, the other driver was failing to yield. I couldn't stop in time. We made contact, and I think the airbag, when it deployed, it ripped that airbag and my hand was on it because I was honking. That unfortunately just had and gave me a huge laceration through the palm of my hand, leaving me with like my 2 fingers nearly hanging off. So unfortunate accident, but again, I'm working on my recovery and meet with the surgeon this Wednesday to start working on my physical therapy. So yeah, thank you for asking. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. What's going on, Travis? So you want me to break down A and F. So we got, A and F. Let me go ahead and break this one down for you. Alrighty, so A and F, an extremely bullish stock. I love that you brought this one up. Higher highs, higher lows, and I think that, again, this is a great example of a stock that overall direction is in your favor. The only thing that I do want to bring up is that we are really, really close to previous all-time highs. This thing just recently pulled on back down to the moving average. So when looking at that, this isn't something that I would care to short because it's so incredibly bullish and direction is just, it wouldn't really make sense for me. But I would definitely wait for a pullback getting closer to the moving average to at least consider buying the dip closer to that, so that at least that upside potential is worth it, right? If you buy here, okay, what's your upside potential versus your downside risk? The risk to reward ratios just wouldn't make sense to at least not me. At least if it pulls on back down here, it's still an incredibly bullish stock. So you still have to wait for the 3 stages of a reversal. But at that point, down here at 120, we have a lot more upside potential, and then we can mitigate risk, of course, if it ends up breaking below the moving average. But at least at that point, you're putting yourself in a more favorable position where that upside potential actually would outweigh that downside risk. So let me know what it is that you think about that. Also, while I have you guys here, again, feel free to share your top stock. Make sure you guys drop a thumbs up. But one of the things that we were talking about in the previous live stream is what's on schedule for this week. So here are the series of large cap companies that are going to be reporting earnings this week, and then also a very important economic report being released this week. It's one of the Federal Reserve's favorite economic report, and that is the PCE report that's going to be released, as well as Jerome Powell is set to speak, and this is going to be on Friday, March 29th. So just want to make sure that you are aware of that. You guys should all have access to an economic calendar making you aware of what stocks are, or making you aware of what different economic reports are being reported on this upcoming week. And if you don't, then just literally Google search economic calendar, and there's a bunch of free economic calendars out there available for you. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So, oh my goodness, I just saw someone's comments. ASML. So ASML, let me go ahead and break this one down. I'm going to break down 2 more stocks after this. So if, again, you want me to break down your stock, please make sure that you share it in that live chat. You do have to be subscribed to the channel, but I'd be more than happy to break it down for you. So ASML, in my opinion, it's a little bit more on the overbought side. It is incredibly bullish. It's holding well above that EMA line. But anytime that something is this overbought, I would just be very, very cautious with at least your position size. And you better be good at taking profits or cutting losses if this thing ends up breaking below the moving average on the 4-hour time frame and ends up changing direction. That is the biggest thing, is how regretful is it going to be for anyone that begins or starts to learn how to trade when markets this overbought. For those that are unaware, NASDAQ and S&P 500 are like all-time highs. So they're at the highest level that they've ever been. So the really wild thing about that is that a lot of people are getting started right now because there's a lot of demand because of how well the market's doing. That's great that it motivates you to want to get started, but you have to understand that market comes in cycles. And when markets are this overbought, they don't always have to continue going higher for longer. They can, but you have to keep a very close eye on that potential change of direction. So make sure that position size and that risk management is always A1 before taking a hopeful position, thinking that all it has to do is continue to indicate signs of higher highs and higher lows. But as of right now, I see what it is that you're paying attention to. We're above moving average, we're above EMA. And as long as it stays above that, then yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly bullish stock. But I would just be very careful that if we begin to see a change of direction, to not hesitate to lock in profits or to cut losses. So, all right, let me go ahead and move on to the next one. So let's go, still holding Nvidia. So, okay, so let me go ahead and check that out. NVDA. So NVDA was doing relatively pretty good. Yeah, it's approaching previous highs. A lot of people think that it's going to be trading at $1,000 per share, especially before it announces any form of stock split. Nvidia is not a company that I would consider shorting right now. It's, I would say, like the shiny new object in the stock market. It's one of the best performing stocks in 2024 and one of the newest stocks that has been added to that $1 trillion market cap. It currently trades at a $2.36 trillion market cap, and it's getting very close to taking over Apple, who was previously the most valuable company that's publicly traded. Now, if you're asking me the question, do I think that Nvidia is overhyped? Possibly. I think that there's a lot of hype behind artificial intelligence, and as long as everything continues to go well, I think that they have nothing to worry about. But as if anything begins to go wrong, anytime that the market overreacts, it can overreact also on the correction side of things. So I think it's going to be very interesting for this new wave of people that got in during this artificial intelligence wave, kind of like the people that got in during COVID, and markets were going higher for longer, right? Very quickly. And then they quickly found out how quick the market can change, right? Because when things just all of a sudden begin to get bad, they get bad very quickly in the stock market, because the market always is based off of forecast and expectation, not just what is actually going on right now. So that's just something to take into consideration, is that as we begin to trade at these levels, just like Bitcoin, right? Trading at these levels, Nvidia trading at these levels, that's great that you potentially see value in them. You just have to pay very close attention that if there is any form of potential change of direction, that again, you look out for yourself, right? With your position size or with your proper risk management. I have nothing against if you truly do believe that artificial intelligence is the next big wave. I mean, I'm right there with you, right? But that's great that that's what you believe, but just understand that that's not always the way that markets might react. So it's just something to take into consideration. Let me know what it is that you think about that. Yeah, just like Nvidia and just like AMD, if these things begin to pull on back, be ready for a really solid NASDAQ pullback. So all right. Yeah. Someone last week bought 50 million in call options that expire on Friday. Nancy bought more calls. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, there's no better inside trader of the year than Nancy Pelosi. So we'll see how Nvidia continues to ride higher for longer. But again, the thing that I want to remind you is that, can Nvidia go higher, right? Can Nvidia go to $1,000 per share? This is the thing that a lot of people get confused. I'm going to break down one stock after this. So just share it in the live chat, but hear me out. Let me know what you think about this. This is my same theory with Bitcoin. This is my same theory with something like Nvidia. My concern is not, Nvidia can't hit $1,000 per share. No, I know it can, right? But think about it. We're at $942 right now. From $942 to go to $1,000 per share, that's a $60 return on $942. Okay, big whoopie-doo, right? That's not my concern. That's not what I'm doubting. What my concern is the risk to reward ratios. This is where a lot of people then don't pay attention to that, because it's then asking yourself, based off of where we are right now and how overbought Nvidia is and how overbought Bitcoin is, right? All the hype has been factored in. Now, how much longer can it run before it begins to correct itself? And what is the upside potential versus that correction and downside risk? Something to take into consideration. My concern is never, no, this thing will not go higher for longer. I understand the markets well enough. I understand all markets well enough to respect that something can skyrocket, no question about it. But what is that upside potential versus the downside risk? And that's just something that I would, again, love to remind you as you get very excited, as you continue to buy into this. Don't be afraid to make money, but just take that downside risk into consideration on maybe why it may be to reduce or to take profits when it makes the most sense to you. That's all I love to make beginners aware, right? While everyone is focused on making money, I just want to make sure that you keep it. Okay. So let me go ahead and break down one more stock. So good old Nancy. Yep. What's going on there in Sendez? What's up? All right. So I might break down two more different stocks. So yeah, I don't like this one on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, this one's not horrible, but it looks like it pulled on back, testing for a potential reversal. Just a little bit one of a lower volume, and not one that I'm quite familiar with it with a higher price per share. So I see what it is that you're paying attention to it. When it comes down to the 3 stages of a reversal, it's coming back to retest and it's testing the previous, support range. Just like last time when it sold off, found its support, bounced back above EMA, and then indicated signs of higher highs and higher lows above that EMA. That's exactly what I would be expecting. Wait for that break above that moving average and wait for those higher highs. If not, again, be ready for this thing to pull on back more than for this thing just to continue to ride. That's actually what I want to end it with. Thank you for bringing it up, Carlos. You are asking about Tesla. Tesla has to be one that a lot of people are questioning right now. Tesla is getting absolutely destroyed. I don't know if it's just me, but I've been the biggest Elon Musk fan for the longest time. You guys know I have. But man, he is putting his investors, his buyers, through a really tough time right now. With all his demands, with how he continues to do price drops. I get it for future customers, but for existing customers, I've never experienced such of the depreciation that I have in owning any of my vehicles. I mean, I've owned Ferraris, right? Lamborghinis, McLarens. Not one of my vehicles has ever depreciated like my Tesla Model X Plaid. And I think it's just I don't, kind of going back to that suggestion that Kathy Woods had, is that, she just invested an additional $35 million into Tesla, but then when asking the question or looking into her suggestion of like, Tesla does need a full-time CEO. And if Elon Musk is not going to be that, then we need definitely someone else, because Tesla's going through a really tough time. Lower highs, lower lows. I really can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, there is no indication of a reversal. There is no indication of him like doing things differently. Like him threatening of taking AI and robotics and artificial intelligence obviously away from Tesla and starting his own company if he doesn't get enough equity. Like, there's just so much like unfortunate news following Tesla right now that it just continues to drive Tesla lower for longer. And it's not just Tesla. If you've heard the news, Karma is in the brinks of filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Rivian is struggling. EV is just like a struggling market as of right now. So that's kind of the question that I've been asking myself is this something that I really want to double down on and buy Tesla when it's at lows of 150, 160, 170? Or is this it for Tesla, right? Is this like the long and strong run that Tesla had, and now it's on its way down, right? There's obviously on the technical side absolutely no indication of a reversal. So if this was me and there's no emotions attached to it, very black and white, right? We're trading below the moving average, and it would make no sense for me to take a position until we begin to trade above, right? And that's really what my breakdown would be, right? Because my trade, it should not be emotional. When looking at Tesla, I love Tesla, I love Elon, and I see there to be recovery potential on the technical side. But as of right now, it is so incredibly bearish that it makes the most sense just to set alerts and to wait for confirmation. Wait for confirmation of progress above the moving average and that it's actually holding above. Because since we've broken below, all it's been doing is lose money, lose value. And that's not something that I want to put myself further through, right? So set those alerts. Let's wait for that proper confirmation. And that just means that we have to maybe be a little bit more patient. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning on in. I do apologize for the interruption of the previous live stream that we had. My daughter disconnected the router, which is in the living room area, and it disconnected my live stream. So again, I do appreciate you guys putting up with me. I hope that it earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And again, I want to invite you. I trade live every morning right at market open for about 30 minutes to an hour. This gives you a live and real-time look at all the trades that I'm taking, but also the thought process behind any trade. You can ask me questions in real time, and just imagine that as a beginner, would that be valuable for you to, share ideas in real time even before you take your own trades? That's exactly what my LPP team gets to experience every single day. And that's the second link in the description down below. That is 50% off. And yes, it is a one-time payment, lifetime access, and it's 50% off right now. Second link in the description down below. Also, I do want to remind you, we are giving away that the Corvette Z51 package. If you guys haven't checked it out already, it's the Corvette C8 Z51 package, and here it is. So this is going to be given away in April. Again, it's at shoptechbuds.com or the fourth link in the description down below. And I want to remind you, our previous giveaway winner purchased a $25 flag and walked away with the keys to his new vehicle. Now it's your turn. I would love it for it to be one of you guys that subscribe to me here on YouTube. All it takes is one lucky entry. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't buy anything you don't actually want, but feel free to check out the site. We have t-shirts, we have wall art, we have trading mouse pads, trading journals, trading tees. All it takes is one lucky entry, but you have to get entered. And that's at shoptechbuds.com or the fourth link in the description down below. And yes, Canada is included. I appreciate you guys' time. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on